Things you must consider when selling your rental property. Are you going to try to sell the property with a tenant in residence? If yes, the sale of the property will be subject to the tenant's rights. So if your tenant is on a long-term lease, then they have the right to stay in the property for the entire term of the lease. The property owner will need to secure an agreement to end the lease early in order to sell it prior to the end. And that should be secured in writing prior to entering into a purchase and sale agreement with the buyer. On a month-to-month lease, the tenant is still entitled to the proper notices and documentations, and that can vary from city to city and from time to time, as we found out with COVID. Now, in any event, property showings are a disruption to the tenants' lives. Let's face it, they have little incentive to cooperate with agents and buyers who are coming through the property and promising to disrupt their lives by making them move. And Washington State requires at least 24 hours notice before showing a tenant-occupied property. It's not uncommon for the tenant to become less than communicative in these situations as well, which can frustrate showings and reduce the property's exposure. In response, and I recommend this, landlords can offer an incentive to the tenant to cooperate with the showings, keep the property clean, and facilitate the sale. It's not uncommon for tenant incentives to be anywhere from $1,500 to $4,000 to help the seller get the property sold. Now, when you consider keeping the tenant on in case the property doesn't sell and to keep the monthly income, a landlord has to consider how a potentially messy house, an uncooperative tenant, and unattractive furnishings and additional difficulty in showings will affect the value of the home. There is a slight chance that the tenant will not move on time, which can put your sale in jeopardy and incur additional costs. Selling with the tenant out of the property. So you're now on the money clock and it's ticking. Without the tenant's income, you bear the cost of the mortgage, the taxes, and utilities. You'll also likely be putting some money into the property to do a typical rental repainting, reflooring, and repairing any wear and tear items on the property. This is where you can consult an experienced agent to assist in determining which improvements have to be made to make the sale and those additional improvements that'll bring a higher value and a great return on your investment. While the costs up front are higher, you're much more likely to get a higher price for the house. Since it'll be in better condition, it'll be easier to access and show, and it'll be in better repair. The property will appear to a wider spectrum of buyers since it'll include those buyers who want a turnkey house and have no interest in moving right in and start working on their property. In either case, we recommend you have a professional eviction company handle the eviction process. Eviction doesn't mean confrontation, but it is a legal process and you don't want to have your tenant's rights clashing with your buyer's expectations. In all, a property can be sold either way. If you're not fully committed to selling and want to keep your tenant in case it doesn't sell, just understand that you'll likely net less after the sales price and tenant incentives are taken into consideration. With tenants out, you have the upfront expenses, but you'll likely net a higher return after all is said and done. If you'd like to talk about a property you own or just have questions in general, click the link below and pick a time on my calendar to chat. We respond quickly to calls and text messages as well. I hope you found this information helpful and look forward to hearing from you soon.